There are a couple of reasons why micronutrients particularly matter for women. One has to do just with the backdrop that, in fact, a lot of nutrition issues are particularly important for women or girls, but partly because of discrimination on the part of parents toward those kids. In India, for example, in the first year of life, kids essentially depend upon the breast, and the breast does not have a strong son preference. And so mortality rates between boys and girls are pretty similar. From age 1 to 5, kids are now dependent upon their parents, who do have a strong son preference. And as a result, mortality rates for girls are 50% higher than for boys in India. And the basic problem is if you don't have a lot of food, then you give it to your son, and you don't give it to your daughter. And in particular, the more choice foods that may contain more iron, for example, are going to go to the boys, and this happens in much of the world. The other reason I'd say why micronutrients particularly matter for girls or for women has to do in part with biology. Iron deficiency, for example, is a huge issue in so much of the world, and anemia, because of lack of iron, is a tremendous problem and one major backdrop in causes of death from factors like maternal mortality. In the U.S., and if there's a doctor here, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I'm more or less right if I say that if you walk into a hospital or a doctor's office in this country and you had a hemoglobin level below about 9 or so, then you'd probably get a transfusion right away. If you walked into a doctor's office in much of the world with a hemoglobin significantly below that, you'd be perfectly normal if you're a woman. I mean, there are a lot of women who end up giving birth, much of the world, who have hemoglobin levels of 6, at which point in the US you're viewed as practically dead. And anemia also for young women is a particular problem because of menstruation, that they lose iron with blood, and so particularly need supplements. So you have iron deficiencies greater for women, and likewise for iodine as an iodized salt. We don't know exactly why, but in both animals and in humans, lack of iodine when one is in utero particularly affects brain development in female fetuses. And so for whatever reason, women pay a particular price when, as fetuses, they haven't had enough iodine in their bodies to help form brain development. So there are a few factors working together there which make these issues so important. And just to echo what was said, it's hard to think of an area where you get more bang for the buck than micronutrients.